Here we are back at Paul's, and look, VW's on the ground. It's not in the air. I haven't heard it run, but he says it doesn't knock.
That's right.
What did you find in the old engine? We've been dying to know.
So you'll see in the video, what we did was took it apart, and every cylinder I pulled, I expected to feel shaken or knock, but no, none. So basically took all that apart for nothing. Ended up being the flywheel was not torqued enough. It was it's supposed to be 250 foot-pounds, and it was maybe 150. So it was allowing the flywheel to vibrate a little bit on the crankshaft, which can be detrimental. The dowel pins were still tight, so I was able to put it back together, re-torque it, Loctite it, and I think we're okay.
So you didn't actually take an engine apart?
I didn't take the case apart.
Okay.
The top end was off, clutch was apart, all that, but the cases stayed together, and because it was all perfect. The bearings looked like, well, as they should, brand new. They have 400 miles on them.
Right.
So the bearings were all fine, the cylinders were fine. I reused the same pistons, rings, and cylinders, so I just re-honed them a little bit and put them back together. Good. Okay, engine is out again. So yeah, it's all ready to disassemble. And get this, thank you Cal Look Performance. Parts came in, so we can get rolling on this thing. Billy and I just took the top end off of this engine, as you saw, and I don't hear anything wrong. The hope was one of the rods would physically, knock and move in and out. We have moved all four of these back and forth, and I don't feel anything that would indicate a knock. The flywheel, I've pushed up and down on the flywheel and tried to see if it was a crankshaft bearing. Nothing yet. Someone on the groups did mention the possibility of it being a loose gland nut which holds the flywheel on, but if that was the case, the flywheel should move back and forth. So none of that is happening. All of these are really tight. So the next thing I'm going to do is pull the flywheel off, or the clutch off, and check the torque on the gland nut, and then also pull the pistons off, and that way I can have a better feel of the rods. Everything inside the engine looks absolutely perfect. There was no metal in the oil. I, at this point, have no idea what's going on. So we're gonna dig deeper. Next day, engine is apart. Still have basically found nothing. So far, I'll show you. The rods, like perfectly. Everything looks good. There was no slack in the rods on the engine itself, on the crankshaft. The end plate is good within a couple thousandths of an inch. This was slightly loose by maybe, I don't know, 100 pounds or so, so I tightened it properly, but I don't think this was causing the noise. If that was causing the noise, I would have been able to move this around, like back, angle it like it was if it was falling off, which it wasn't near falling off. So now it's torqued properly, but the point we're at now is just complete disassembly. I'm going to go ahead and take it back apart and see if I can find anything wrong on the inside, and if not, then I may just put this one back together, and maybe it was just a ghost noise, and we'll have exercised it. I found the problem. Apparently, in the mix of everything, I tightened the flywheel pretty well, but I did not come back with the massive torque wrench and put a full 254 pounds of torque on it, and there's indentations in this gland nut washer. The gland nut is what goes here in the center of the flywheel and holds it against the crankshaft. That was loose, and so you couldn't feel the looseness or the slack in the flywheel, but when the car was running with the rotating mass, it was apparently vibrating and making all kinds of weird noises. So this has to be it, because I have found nothing else in this engine that was out of spec. So we're putting it back together with a brand new washer, and gonna put everything back like it was. All right, everything is back together. The new washer and gland nut are on the flywheel, and everything is Loctited down and torqued properly. Clutch is back on and torqued properly. So last night I did a few things. I put on the oil cooler and stuff like that, but now I just need some help to put the rod bearings on, because I don't want to, especially at this point, since everything doesn't have to come apart, I don't want to drop a nut or anything in there. So I'm going to put this cardboard there as a block, so that the nuts don't drop in. But I'll need somebody to help hold the rod caps from the other side. So by Saturday we should be back on it, and it should be back in that hole. Yes, once again, engine going back in. Bam. Okay, so it's on the stand. Everything is replaced and in place. We are going to stab it back in. We've got the crew here, and we're gonna get it back in one more time, the last time. So I'm gonna set this up, and we're gonna shove this thing in with force, whatever force needed.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell to let you know when new videos are live.
Yep. Woohoo! All right, it's not fully in the clutch, but it's ready. So the last couple connections, we have the alternator connections being made. Throttle cable's connected. All the wiring is connected. How easy is that on a Beetle? It's like a pleasure. I do need to retighten these because I had to move them to move this fuel line. But other than that, we're pretty much ready to check for oil pressure. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me, but now I'm going to set the choke, and we're going to go ahead and try to start it. Had to get some fuel. There we go. This is a beast of a torque wrench. So what we're going to do is tighten the axle nuts. The torque on these is 250 foot-pounds. Okay, so this one I was just double checking because I did not take this one loose. That's 200. So we're gonna go to 250. See if it still clicks. Okay, so it clicks. So that means that we can put the cotter pin back in this one. It's fine. The other side is what I worked on. So we're gonna go toward that one. It's in, I think it's in first gear. I'm gonna set the brake try that. Thank you. There we go. 250 foot-pounds.
It's actually been fixed for what, maybe 3 weeks?
2 or 3, something
Two or
like that.
3
yeah.
weeks. How much have you driven it?
Quite a bit. Took it downtown once. Well, I was driving it. I took it to Chris's house a couple times. You know, about maybe let's say 40 miles, and it's been doing great. But it did have some junk in the carburetor that I had to open the carburetor up. Actually, took it off and clean the bowl out, and then put it back together. And now it runs. Well, I can cold start it if you want.
Yeah, let's do that. When's the last time it ran?
Yeah, yesterday afternoon.
Okay. Gee,
Is it fuel injected? No.
it didn't even do a whole rotation. It just started right up.
It fires right up, and it's been running great. And no knock.
It's finished again.
Yeah, I know, huh? Again.
What is the plan?
The next step is to fix up a spare wheel that I'll probably never use, but just for the, to finish off the car and have the tire in the front, and drive it around, use it.
This one's a 1970. What's the car they were going up against? Like, okay, I'll either buy this or I'll buy a Bug. What do you think the comparable car was?
In 1970, probably Ford Pinto, Chevy Vega,
Okay.
things
yeah.
like that. I don't know if like Monza, small American cars were here. There were other probably like Peugeots and things like that you could get here in smaller. And then of course the Datsuns.
Right.
So these were going against the American cars and kind of winning. But the Beetle was cheaper. I don't know if it was cheaper than, let's say, a 1975 10. It probably, yeah, I guess it would have been a little bit.
And by 70, had Toyota really made their name known in America by then?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
70. It's hard to say because I don't know exactly the time frame as well as I do with Nissan, but they were here
Yeah.
in enough capacity that this would have been on the opposing lot.
And Hondas?
Hondas were in their lower, beginning times. These things were absolutely everywhere. They were just daily driver cars that just ran, keep oil in them and go kind of thing.
They're very unique too. I mean, I think that's why everyone you talk to about the car has a story about the car, because they just stick out in your mind so much.
Yeah, if your uncle had a Chevy Vega, let's say, you probably may or may not remember it.
Right.
Also, it probably only lasted about 35,000 miles. But if they had a Beetle, I think it's just the odd shape and the fun factor of these cars that makes them stick out and stay in the stories and the memories.
Well, guys, he's finished when there's almost an empty table.
Yep.
There's still a crank and a camshaft up there and only one engine block on the floor.
Ready for storage.
Well, now that it's running and driving, I'm sure there's other things that he will do besides a spare tire and some little interior things here and there. And hopefully it will never knock again.
Right.
And hopefully no one will back into it again.
Yeah, I'll try to avoid that.
It wasn't him that did it, but it happened to the car. And whatever he does to it, we will show you. But until then, buckle up, put it in gear, and... Whoa, guys, hold on. We have an update for the VW, and I don't see it. We're here at the garage. I don't see it. Where is it?
Well, it's in someone else's arms. The guy made me, this person made me an offer that I really couldn't refuse because it was more than fair. I'd only gotten about 2 weeks to enjoy it with the new engine back in it, but this guy's been looking for, he straight up told me this with his friend. He said, I've been looking for the right Beetle since I was 16. And when he saw the car, he said, I just got to have it. And he made me an offer that I really couldn't refuse. I'm going to miss it, but, you know, new things to come.
Yeah, and there is something new here, and we're going to do video series on it. So keep an eye out for that. But, I mean, as far as the VW series goes, I guess that's it.
It's still local. We'll see it at Cars and Coffees and car shows and such. But
was it a car guy? No,
not technically. He's mechanically inclined. He's done some. The first thing he was very proud of. He's like, first mod I did, I put LED lights in the tail lights. But he can do more than that, though.
Yeah,
he's mechanically inclined and was happy to get to work on it.
Awesome, good, and that's what it's all about.
Exactly. This guy. Yeah. It makes me really happy to be able to sell it to somebody who is going to appreciate it and take care of it and not
make
leave
sure
it on
oil stays in it.
Yes, and not drive it in the rain or, you know, on purpose. You know, keep it indoors.
Yeah, good. So sorry about that, guys. There's no video of it leaving. I was just as surprised to learn it was gone as you are.
I couldn't video and cry at the same time.
But hey, is what it is. Go back and watch the whole series again. You'll fall in love with the car again.
It was a fun time.
Yeah. So do what the new guy's going to do. Just buckle up, put it in gear, and drive it.